and you start understanding who you truly are. And once you know who you are, they can't trick you anymore. You can't be fooled on your greatness and who you truly are.
Welcome to the We Got Problems podcast with co-hosts Curtis G. Martin, Rhonda L. Brown, and Caliph Johnson Sr., the one and only podcast where solutions get discussed to our community's everyday troubles. Each week, you will hear mind-blowing conversations and actionable tips and strategies that you can implement in your daily life to become more effective. We got problems and we got solutions.
All right, you guys, welcome to the show. This is We Got Problems, the podcast where we talk solutions. I'm here with my co-host, Rhonda L. Brown.
Hey, everybody.
Caliph Johnson Sr.
Hey, how y'all doing?
And Lashika Phillips.
Hey, everybody.
Hey, today we got a really good topic, a hot topic. Hey, it's one that's been in the news, right? Hey, how are they trying to whitewash history? So that's what we're going to talk about today, whitewashing history. What you guys got?
So I have a question. Why is whitewashing Black history a prevalent issue in many mainstream historical narratives?
Oh, so you say why?
Mm-hmm.
Why is it an issue? I would say one. I mean, and this may just be obvious, but it's not true. How about that? Let's just start there. It's not true. It's not fact. Even when I think about the whitewashing of, and I think we talked about this a little bit before, but the whitewashing of Memorial Day, the whitewashing of New Year's Eve service, what they call watch night, that's been whitewashed. So I would think that's one of the main issues. It's not. It's built on a lie. That's what I have on that.
Okay, for me, I think it's more about, when you win the war, you could write the history of the past how you want it. And because they had us down bad for so many years and they've done our ancestors so bad that they want to make it seem the people who were in charge didn't do anything wrong. That's why you still see those statues up across the country of some real notorious people.
Yeah, I think it's pockets of racism that's embedded in this country that the newer generation is not accepting it, and they're being more emotional about it. They're being more concerned about what happened, and they want to do better. But that part of history that said, no, we can't let go. No, we finna erase this. No, you can't teach our kids this. No, we're not gonna do it no more. I think that's what's creeping in now, right? Like, because you do have a bunch of people that genuinely want to help, right?
Mm-hmm.
They want to make things better, but it's that one group that's going, nah, you making them feel guilty. That's what y'all doing. Y'all making them feel guilty, right? So we're gonna stop this. This didn't happen. And a lot of them, really, some of them that feel guilty, most likely, they want to see history whitewashed.
Yeah, so that it goes straight to what's happening right now, and I think it's Florida and Texas. Y'all correct me if y'all know about what's going on, but where they are saying that slaves benefited. There was a benefit. They benefited as slaves, as indentured servants, or like that.
Yeah, that's a hard one for me because a slave invented Jack Daniels. He didn't benefit from that.
His ancestors didn't benefit from it either.
Yeah.
You go ahead and put something out like that, and then you don't have no control over it.
Right. So the same thing. We are natural inventors, right? I was listening to a guy speak the other day, and I was like, man, he kind of right? Like, I felt bad. We invented everything. And then I did some research and had this list of all these things, and I was going, wow, I never knew this one. I didn't know this one. And then so now I'm telling my kids, hey, look at this list. And it's hard, right? When you have some people whitewashing history, it's hard to teach the youth when they're going to school and getting all this stuff embedded. That's why when I hear these guys talk about we need to start homeschooling, we need our own schools, this is why. Right.
Mm-hmm.
So history is not whitewashed. So we're not getting Alzheimer's and not passing this information down. Right. We're dying young without passing this information. Right. people are dying with the information. Like my grandmother, like listening to Lashika's mom talk about genealogy and her researching. My grandmother had so much that she used to try to tell us, and we wasn't listening to it. She was telling us how we were Cherokee Indians. I remember the stories, and she was telling how they used to come down in their white robes, and she ended up being the liquor lady at one time,
Hmm.
and they would come down after their meetings in their robes and buy liquor from her, right? Like so she was telling me all these stories, and somehow, as we start growing up, instead of taking the stories and going deeper, we start drinking, we start smoking, right? Like, so now I don't know none of that history. Then my grandmother get Alzheimer's, and when I'm ready for it, I can't get it.
But that's how they wanted it to be. That's why they put it all like that's all you see on TV is, even in movies or whatever. They got us on the corner selling drugs. They got us strung out on crack, drinking, like just it's being marketed to us at a very young age. It's even in cartoons.
It's,
Yeah,
but the
Like you
crazy
can't get
part
away from it.
it's been in cartoons though.
Oh yeah.
If you go back and look at some of the old Tom and Jerry cartoons, some of the old Popeye cartoons, the underlying story that Disney and all of these other companies were putting out they really weren't for kids. But that's the story that they can make money off of. So as long as it's a dollar being turned, they don't care about the outcome, and they don't care about who get hurt. So when you start looking at our kids and how they're affected by it, because I always track back to the youth and to think about how they'll be impacted by it. If our youth aren't getting nourishing information that tells them that they were kings and queens when they came through, they don't tell them about the history of what was going on prior to slavery, then the narrative that they keep on breeding, that we all started from slaves in this country, and that's really not true.
yeah. You put your kids at a disadvantage soon as they teach their version of history. You're a slave, I was the master. Bam. Now and then now any other race that's right there listening to it go like, well, I never was a slave, so I'm better than you, right?
Hmm.
I got two self how should I say it? Two things that I think about some of the reasoning. Um I think one is we're treated like this because if we're supposed to be such a great people, let me see you rise up with me putting my foot on your neck. I don't think you can. You so great, right? And then another reason, don't let them get up because they're so great, right? I was just telling my son this morning. I said, "Man, look, listen to me, man." I said, "You're built like God, man." He like, "No, I'm not, Daddy." I said, "You are." I said, look, because if the Bible is supposed to be true that we're supposed to go off of, it says you're built in his image, right? So I said, also, look at this, my man. I said, what color is brass? Right? I said, he had feet like brass, my man. I said, what do wool look like? He said, well, it's kind of white and fluffy. I said, no, we ain't going color today. I said, what does it look like? He said, it's fluffy. I said, you got hair like wool, my man. That's what he said. Hair like wool, right? And so he was just smiling, right? So it made him feel good, right? So you got to whitewash that before we find out.
Hmm.
But
But I know when my kids were in school, I remember my son. He was in history class and told his teacher, because I teach him. I was teaching him at home. Like, you gonna learn what you learn in school, but you gonna learn the truth too. And so when he would say something to his teacher, he actually got in trouble for it.
Yeah,
And it's like, no, you need to learn you need to learn the history before you try and teach us out of the books. They were teaching their history, but
yeah, yeah.
of
It's his
course it was
story.
whitewashed.
see, sometimes we have some immaculate teachers along our period in our education, and I had a teacher named Bonnie Pleasance, and I never forget Miss Pleasance. She was the most beautiful, short hair, little bitty person, but she had a club called the HRC, Human Resource Club, and she taught us about the history of Africa. She made us do a 4-part assignment where we put a map together, and I still have my map to this day. She laminated for us and she graded us on the different parts of You had to put Hannibal on there. You had to put some of our great leaders that came prior to slavery. And then she taught us the real history of the earth, not of this country. You have to have the history of this earth, this planet. And once you start understanding the history, what came before we got to this, they say allegedly we got here, then you start understanding who you truly are. And once you know who you are, they can't trick you anymore. You can't be fooled on your
Yeah,
greatness and who you truly are.
yeah, I think so. You muted, Lashika.
Oh no, I was just saying, wow. I was just like, just wow, wow. It's almost like I don't know. I have a couple of thoughts here. One of my thoughts is, that's one of the reasons why we can't, if our children are going to public schools, if we can't just rely on public school system. Education starts at home. It really does start at home. It starts in the kitchen. It starts in the bedroom. It starts in the living room. It starts in the parents' room. Like that. That is where education starts. So for parents who have children in public schools, I would say don't rely on February to teach your children about Black History Month. Make it incorporate that into the daily habits, into the daily things while you're out in the car. I remember back in the day, I don't know, y'all may have had a different version, but it would be bingo when you're driving. Oh, I'm bingo, and that's my car. Or you name the license plates, right? It could be something simple as
We call it
identifying.
contact. We call it contact on that car. Contact on that car. We call it
Okay,
contact.
okay.
Yeah, I
Well,
remember
it
that
could be
game.
something as simple as identifying inventions, Black inventions, right? Whether it's in a billboard sign, it's so many ways. But then for parents who are homeschooling, it's a good opportunity to connect with other parents who are homeschooling so that you can exchange resources, right? So it's just a lot to really peel back here. And I know we're not going to save the world, in one episode, but but I think
Right.
it's definitely worth us having this conversation because what when I think about what does it mean to have Black history erased, or what we know as Black history to have that erased. I mean, I think that says a lot about a people. I think it tells a lot to a group of people what the country thinks about them, what the nation thinks about them. I mean, that says a lot. That we're just going to erase your history.
Hmm. And
But see,
then when you think about it, generations down, they're reading this and they're wondering like, dang, these folks really did this. So we never gonna, rise up past it. Now it's a lot of people that are so-called woke, whatever, but it's a lot more people standing up for themselves. And I mean, look at what 2 weeks ago, what happened
mm-hmm,
in Montgomery. So
mm-hmm.
it's like, we're actually standing up for things now. And if they erase it, what are we going to do? They're going to
It's,
look at us like we was just docile and, we didn't stand up for nothing. We just took it and, that's our place.
But with that one, Rhonda, I think that one will look like assault if they erase some of the other stuff.
Right.
Right, right. So it'll
It
make
was
that one look.
assault
No, I'm
on
talking
on
about
the
on
on the
our
mayor.
part. It'll make it look like
Right.
a assault on our part, right? Like we just all of a sudden because that's where it'll start from,
Hmm.
right? Like it just start from the chair.
Right.
yeah.
That's the whitewashing, right? Like I don't know this topic can go all day, y'all, but I think when you have politicians in office and we accept that, and then the politicians that's supposed to be for us, that's supposed to speak for us, when they accept that, some of them you hear they'll talk just to get some sound bites going, but then they not really putting nothing in motion, right? Like
Mm-hmm,
I don't know. It's hard for me. I remember us having conversations in the after dark talking about knowing the law, right? You have all these people that know law or are part of this establishment that's in law enforcement or part of the bar. They're not coming to teach us these things,
mm-hmm.
right? Like some of us, I wouldn't say I want to be a lawyer, but I would like for somebody to point me in the right direction of some laws that maybe I should know, right? Like it's so many laws. Which one should I know? I know the basic ones. I shouldn't kill. I shouldn't steal. Right? Like, but there
Mm-hmm.
might be some laws that's you can't do that as a neighbor. Right?
Mm-hmm.
Like
Right.
just being a good neighbor can get me in trouble. It's little things like that that they find and either get somebody off or get somebody else convicted, right? So teach us the law, teach us, help us learn stuff to do things that people can't whitewash. That's why I'm still a big believer in books. Everybody, family having books because now you're passing your history on and then create that digital copy. And then now we have that digital footprint of stuff, the story told by us. And at some point, our generation will figure out to where, you know what, I'm gonna believe the story of the people that look like me.
Mm-hmm. But see, you got to remember when it boils down to, I don't think they really want to eliminate our history as much as they want to erase the atrocities that their ancestors did. So when you start looking at it like that, like when your grandpa was a grand dragon and he walked around not with tiki torches but burning crosses and sitting them in his neighbor's yard, then you really don't want that to come up. When your grandfather was a general in the army that was trying to keep slavery alive, then I'm sure he doesn't want to have that like being portrayed or broadcasted. I'm sure they don't want to talk about having a whole house full of slaves that nurtured and nursed and took care of all of the crops and everything else while they sat in the house and they did what they wanted to do. So when you start talking about what they're trying to erase, they don't want to make it seem like it was a bad thing. They want to make it seem like they were choice. It was a choice and they can go home and do what they wanted to do while they were enslaved. And that's really just not the case.
Man, you just said a mouthful. I don't even know if you realize what you just said because you just said it and just glossed over it. But like really listen to what you just said. I think what you said was profound, and maybe I just heard it different. But basically, let me tell you what I heard. What I heard is that it's not what's happening is not necessarily Black history being whitewashed as it is with white people beautifying their abuse.
Exactly. They're trying to make
There
their
is yeah.
They're trying to make what they did seem
No,
like
that's
it was
definitely it.
okay. That's exactly what they're shooting for. And
No,
they
that's
want us to
definitely it.
accept it and they want to teach our kids that history. And that's the problem that us as parents who have kids that are in public school should really be focusing in on what their kids' lessons are. They have all kind of books in the library right now that they want our kids to read that might not coincide with what your beliefs are in your house. That it's okay for guys to kiss guys and it's okay for girls to kiss girls, and that's might be the history that you want to teach in your household, but that's not the history that I teach my kids in my household. So you can't sit there and force what you want in everyone's household.
I'm telling you, when I heard that politician talking about we're making their kids feel guilt, that tell you
Right.
you done something so bad to where your kids are feeling guilty, right? And you don't want to let go of that stronghold because you feel like they're getting weak now,
Mm,
Mm,
right? They're getting weak now because they're not upholding what we're supposed to uphold. Because it's about that, right? Like just listening to some of our past interviews, right, where you talk about army bases in almost every country. You know where when somebody don't listen to what this country say do, we drop bombs on them, we kill them, all the way down to kind of what's going on in Maui, right? Like it's so much to like that's gonna alter history,
mm-hmm.
right? The stuff that's going on in Maui right now, that's gonna alter history, believe it or not, it will. Right, like even now, people talking about the storm we having right here in California. That's possibly um, history being
engineer,
altered, engineered history,
engineered.
right?
Hmm.
So that's the name of the game now is engineering history. Everybody's scared of the truth nowadays. If you speak the truth, then you get blackballed, or what they call it, cancel culture, right? You get canceled,
Right.
Cancel
right?
culture.
Yeah.
Right?
Hmm. Or made to look crazy.
Yeah, yeah. So now some of these same people don't seem so crazy. Like I remember, like I don't know how far we could go with this, but I'm gonna say it anyway. I remember back 2019, early 2019, where all these holistic healers were getting killed, and they just was falling back to back, and people were saying like, "Wow, what's going on?" Then all of a sudden, late 2019,
COVID.
people start getting sick. 2020, COVID hits, but it's called COVID-19, not
Mm-hmm.
COVID-20.
Mm-hmm.
It's called COVID-19,
Mm-hmm.
right? If it would have been called COVID-20, I kind of could see different, but it was right at 19, the same time all them people were missing. Them same people that could have healed us quickly, right?
Mm-hmm.
Like
Mm-hmm.
I
Mm-hmm.
don't know. Yeah, it's kind of crazy, but that's another subject.
That's why we got to do our own research and keep our history alive. Meaning, talk to your elders. There's some
Mm-hmm.
still alive. Go talk to them. Have a long conversation with them.
And build your library, right? Like build your
Hmm.
digital library and also build your physical books, right? Have a library to leave your kid. Like my grandmother used to save those encyclopedias. Oh,
Mm-hmm.
how I wish I would have had those now. I used to say, and man, all we pass down is encyclopedias. We don't have nothing, right? Like family to family, we don't have nothing. But those encyclopedias, some of them had real information in them.
That you can't even get
Hmm.
anymore.
Yeah,
Google.com.
yeah,
Google University don't cover this.
yeah. That's been whitewashed, right? Like. So I was having a discussion with somebody this morning, and we were talking about the hair like wool, and I said, so before we get started, y'all, let me throw this out in the air. I said, y'all know it's a bunch of different versions of the Bible, right? So just know King James version, that's just his version, right? It tells you that's King James version, right?
Mm-hmm.
So
Hmm.
so he whitewashed it.
Look, I was watching. I was watching a documentary on how to become a cult leader, and it got me to thinking about the Bible. It
Wow.
was like, I wonder if that was actually a cult, and somebody wrote a book on it, and then it became the Bible.
Yeah.
You
And look
know,
at the following now.
right? So, and the blind following, like the stuff don't even make sense to you, and you still following it. You know, so I'm
Yeah,
like,
no,
oh, that's the biggest cult of them all.
yeah, it's something there. I think honestly, I'm gonna say this. Even with we talking whitewashing, we need to get in touch with nature.
Yeah,
Um, we need to get in touch with ourselves, and we need to share information.
Yeah. Yeah.
We got to
You
get in
know,
the mirror and learn who we are. If we don't know who we are, then they have a unique way of teaching us who they want us to be. And you can listen to the music. I was listening to a conversation about how music has been taken over. And the reason they took music over is because that's how we used to learn. That's how we used to teach. That's how we adjusted to culture. Hip hop is a culture. It's not. It's not a genre of music. It's a culture, and they took that culture and they used it to publicize the different drug uses. You learn how to use drugs on it now. They learn to see what the youth and other communities are doing, and they try and get it spread out nationwide. They use it for dress. They use it for fashion, for slang. It's just so much done in the music industry, and the people who control it don't look like us.
hey, I know we off topic, but I want to say one thing. You heard the new thing on rap now? They
What is
talking don't sign no black artists no more. That they're going after the Bad Bunnies and the Burner Boys. So Africans and Hispanics.
it? Hmm.
Um,
I Wow.
now they're saying that black artists are too plain, right? So and then somebody else. I was listening to this conversation. Black artists are starting to wake up and not want to do this murder music no more. So now they need to go get this other culture and get them blinded by a little money and try to keep it going, right? They got another agenda now. The gangsters are out there now. Now they got the people that's finna turn you to flip flop with your sexuality, right? So I don't know. I think again we need to know our heritage, just like in the last interview. But anyway, hey y'all, let's go ahead and wrap it up. Rhonda, what you want to leave the people with?
Um, I look, yeah, like you said, know your heritage. Get out and talk to your elders. Learn some history. Learn some old techniques, and write a book.
There we go. How about you, Caliph?
When it comes to our community, each one of us got to stand up and we have to play our role in our community. Everyone's talent is unique and different to yourself. Get in the mirror and find out who you are and go be the best version of yourself.
How about you, Lashika?
I'm gonna say go out and use the research that is available because what we're talking about is erasing history, but we can use their systems to learn about our history. That's using the U.S. Census. That's a lot of state websites. They have access to information. But I'm gonna put in one step to just take it a little bit further, just because of the times that we're in. I'm going to say print out the information that you have. Just saying, we're in a time now, we don't know how long these digital, repositories are going to be available to us. Print the stuff that you can and put the stuff, save it, for your family.
Yep. I think the same thing. A friend of mine had one time a debate party, and they talked politics, they talked history, and I had never seen nothing like that. And they did it all the time. I think that should be a thing, right? Get together and have a debate party, and then that's where we can learn and teach each other. Hey, you guys, because we have problems, and we also have solutions, and we are.
Peace.
We got problems and we got solutions. Thank you for listening. To stay connected with us, like, share, and subscribe to the We Got Problems podcast. You can find us on social media platforms at Curtis Martin 247, at Rhonda Wrights Official, and at the_trash_vegan_.